Does it sound crazy after doing nothing but maybe a handful of day sails, with that lack of experience, to then take a boat out on a solo sailing adventure for 9 days in the wild? Well, that's exactly what happened. With minimal training and a lot of book reading, I decided to take my newly acquired trailer sailor, a Blockley Privateer 20, out for 9 days, sail camping and island hopping, alone, in the wilds of the Chesapeake Bay, enduring storms, heat, and nasty stinging wildlife. Come join me in my boat, the SV Viejo Dep, for the adventure. In September of 2022, I bought a 20-foot British-made Blockley Privateer, trailer, sails, and all, at the St. Michael's Maritime Museum charity boat auction for a grand total of $450. This was a long time coming. Previously, I'd worked on my friends' boats for almost 8 years. It was my experiences working on big 38 to 40-foot boats that taught me that a big boat was definitely not what I wanted. I wanted something small, about 20 foot, that's beachable, and human power was a component. What attracted me to buy this boat, in fact, was the fact that it came with rowing oars. The moment I saw those oars, it caught my attention. And that's when I decided to bid for the boat. Made in the early 1970s, this little pirate ship was older than me. But because it was kept in a garage since the 1990s, it was in fantastic shape. The sails were immaculate, as were the lines. After a thorough cleaning and inspection, we took her sailing several times the first year that I had her. The Blockley Privateer comes with a gaff rig, which we took some time to figure out. First time around, we got it wrong. Then, we finally figured it out. Next, I had to get her a new motor. After comparing gas and electric, I found the perfect motor for her. A Tohatsu Sailrite propane motor that I picked up from Fawcett Boat in Annapolis. I chose propane after a lot of deliberation. Propane was the perfect match. It wasn't as much of a hassle to deal with as gasoline, especially in dealing with ethanol blends. And it was nowhere near as expensive as electric. And unfortunately, electric doesn't have anywhere near the energy density or the horsepower for the things I wanted to do. So what I got was a motor that had no gas fumes, good mileage, and a very low cost, with widespread availability to get propane, which made it the perfect candidate for what I wanted to do with the boat. Even though the boat was in really good shape, and the sails were immaculate, and the lines were still good, as well as a lot of the hardware, the boat really needed some work. Before I could take her out on a long trip, I had to scrape out and repaint the interior. And then I had to replace the gaskets on the hatches, as well as some of the wood fittings, and a little bit of varnish work had to be done onto the boat to make her minimally viable for a real sailing trip. I also had to refinish the rudder. I mean, obviously, the rudder, without that, you can't really directionally control the boat, so that was really important as well. Okay, so got the new hatch seals installed. Let's take a look on here. And today we're doing the shakedown cruise of the Viejo Dep, which means boat of the tiger in Vietnamese. And it's been about a year worth of work trying to get this done because of the distance getting it out here. But we are ready to go. Time to get set up.
Hodep with Dave. How's your boat sailing today?
Sailing great. I feel like I'm definitely clocking in some speed. Just checking out the whole rigging and everything.
So we've got full gaff rig mainsail shaking out today. We've got 2 jibs, the interstaysail and the outer Genoa flying together. And we're making pretty good time. A gray, gloomy day here in the Chesapeake.
It was a success. Everything worked well. All systems were go for my big 9-day sail camping adventure on the Chesapeake Bay. It's the morning of the trip, and it's time to load things onto the boat to get it ready to go. We got her gassed up with a new propane tank, got the rig set up, then we got her into the water. Okay. But once we were in the water and we got started, the conditions were rough. Initially, the plan was to put me through a set of sailing exercises to make sure my basic skill set was sound to survive the trip. We would head out about 1/8 of the way, and then camp overnight a few nautical miles away, come back in the morning, drop my friend off back at the dock, and then I would be on my way. But instead, what happened was the high southwesterly winds pushed us up and away, and the rough seas made for a very uncomfortable ride for the day. I ended up puking, so it forced us to take a sheltered anchorage just north of Dogwood Harbor to rest and recuperate. Alright, so day one. I was supposed to start at beginner level, but it was 20 knot winds?
No, 18.
18 knot
Much less
winds.
than 20, 18.
So that was a little too high for my skill level, so we did some night sailing just to get out over here to this very nice harbor. That's all.
The boat
But
sailed well in good, heavy 3-foot, 4-foot wave conditions, and it was fun.
yeah.
Sailed into the harbor in the dark.
Okay, so today the plan is I had it really ambitious, which is I wanted to sail from Dogwood Harbor all the way down to Taylor's Island, because I know of a campground there with a marina. That was probably a little too ambitious because of the openness of a lot of the areas I'll be hitting. So we're going to go a lot smaller, more scaled down. I'm going to go from Easton Harbor and just putter around the river there, working on my skill levels, moving up. So today, that's the purpose for today.
Today the wind's going to come up to about 22, so a little more than yesterday. So we're going to stay in shelter today and then relaunch in a sheltered spot. And by the time Dave gets out of there in 2 days, the wind will have died and it will be nicer, calmer sailing conditions to practice.
This is supposed to be my vacation, not a sufferfest. That's my plan. We'll see how it goes. So we sailed back to Dogwood Harbor. With high wind conditions, we had to reef the mainsail. At Dogwood Harbor, we partially de-rigged the boat, strapped everything down, and then drove for an hour to Easton. Once we got to Easton Point boat ramp, we rigged her back up, quickly got her in the water. Part of the benefit of a trailer sailor is having that kind of flexibility. Unfortunately, while setting up, the NOAA weather radio station reported several storm cells crossing my path. I got in the boat, turned on the motor, and hastily got out of there. I saw one of the storm cells just 8 to 10 miles from me, and it was trucking to me fast. I motored for about 15 minutes to a sheltered cove and dropped anchor. As soon as I dropped it, I got a message to set up the boom tent right away. I pulled out the tarp and set it up, and as soon as I secured the last line, the storm slammed into me. All in a space of 10 more minutes. I got it done just in the nick of time. Check this out. Ugh. Oh yeah. At least the water's not coming in the cockpit anymore. I got 2 Kraken bottles hanging on the side, holding that tarp down. My boom tent. Ugh. Kind of an essential if you're cruising out here in the Chesapeake Bay. Woo! Look at that. Look how it spins. Man. That right there be a tempest. Got a little bit of bailing. Oh, I hope that doesn't ever touch me. Oh, there we go. There we go. Look at that. The wind just pounded through. That just sounds terrible. Good thing I deployed everything when I did. It's a good thing I deployed everything when I did. I did it right away. Holy crap, just a few minutes later, this would have been very difficult to get taken care of. This goes to show if you got a gut instinct to get ready, to get bent down, do it. Don't stop, trust it, and just hunker down. So far, so good. Everything looks good inside the boat. Gotta reorganize now. I got a chance. There's some leaking out of the starboard vent. Coming in here in the cockpit. There's some water on the ground. Not much. Could have been a lot worse. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. Let's take a look. The storm just finished. Let's see. How bad is it? Okay. See some clouds over there. That's a storm. Not bad. That's it over there. But it looks like it's okay. Boom tent held up. Mast light is up, but the line's a little loose. Anchor line is holding. Okay. Made it. Made it. Day 1. I woke up to a peaceful but windy morning. Oh, that was Relatively rough night till midnight. Thunderstorms were slamming in. Got another 2 waves of them that came in. Still on the anchorage, and apparently, according to this book, Cruising the Chesapeake, I am in an anchorage that's actually recommended by the book. So, and that was by instinct alone, just based on what my friend taught me and using that information. Not bad. Today we're going to try to make our way down. Let's see here. We're on the Tread Avon River, and we're going to see if we can get from here where we're anchored, which is around here at this point. I'm going to try to make my way down by sail down to here into Deepwater Point. I'm going to see how far I can make with that, how comfortable I am with that today. Wind's about 12 knots. 12 knots blowing westerly, I think. Let me just check with Windy real quick on that. Don't quote me on that. So let's see. Let's pull that up. Yep. 12 knots westerly, coming in from the west, which means it's opposing me, but if I play my cards right, no, actually this is helping me in terms of coming out. Yesterday I sailed off the anchor. I'm going to practice doing that again today. No motor. See how I do. I just got to do the direction and the timing right so I don't get cast right into the woods over there 200 feet away. That's about it. Time to do my morning routine. Just get up, check everything's in order, wash my face, brush my teeth, you know, all the whole 9 yards. Take it up, then make some breakfast.
After my morning routine, it was time for breakfast. Then I made coffee, which isn't really recommended if you get seasick, but I usually get used to the boat after sleeping overnight. To prepare to sail off the anchor, first I had to get the cabin organized. Then I cleaned the cockpit. I also had to secure the lines. Once that was ready, it was a matter of waiting for the weather helm to position me so I could haul in the anchor, and then jump in the cockpit to steer.
So, sailed off the anchor, no motor needed today. I've been wanting to work on that for a bit. Winds are pretty decent, I'm only using the jibs. That's about as confident as I can handle, as far as I'm concerned. I made my way past a couple of points. And she's handling really nicely. We want to get to Trip Creek. And there's a nice little cove there. Sails are filling nicely. You can see that. We're just sailing the jibs today. Keeping course. watch out for some really shallow areas here with the swing keel. That's about it. Swing keel's attached. Everything's good. Reggae, and she's healing. Afterwards, I raised the mainsail and had a pretty good clip right up until I got to this point. This batch of red squiggles you see on the map, what happened was as I tried to make a turn to go into the inlet, for some odd reason the boat kept moving closer to shore, which got my blood running. So I completed a full turn to port and tried to reset my position. At this point, I ran into something I hadn't done before. I suddenly had an uncontrolled jibe. The jibe yanked the boom out, and the main jib suddenly flapped and broke off the turnbuckle on the sprit. In a panic, I got up and immediately lowered the mainsail while the jib flapped uncontrollably. Once I got that done, I turned on the motor and jumped on the deck to dump the Yankee jib in the forward hatch, all while keeping a close eye that I wouldn't crash into the wall on shore. Then I motored to safety and anchored, and then collapsed. I made it here to Deepwater Point in Trip Creek. Sailed a good chunk of the way, motored a bit because it was the headwinds, and then the forward stay, the inner part of the forward stay came out. The turnbuckle came loose, so I am anchoring here tonight. It's a nice place out here. Maybe do some crabbing. Just rest a bit and relax. My arms are aching. Crap. Never think about sailing as being a physical sport, but did a lot of isometric type workouts, so not bad. I think I did 4 or 5 nautical miles. Time to mark that on the chart. The next day, my body felt the non-stop push of the last few days finally catch up to me. Oh man, I'm up. I'm anchored out here in a place called Pirates Cove. It's one of the Fingers tributaries of the Trip Avon River. Came out here after sailing yesterday because the secondary stay in the forward turnbuckle came loose. Came here to effect some repairs. Not bad for a first day sailing. A lot of headwind, had the motor in the headwind, but as soon as I got a beam reach wind, I managed to sail. I gotta work on jibing. I had some trouble with that. That's a skill set that I gotta work on without damaging the mast and the boom, obviously. But came here, got here at 3. Managed to chill out here for most of the day. I was just exhausted. I think it's the accumulation of the last 2 weeks of working hard and getting the boat ready for the trip, working hard at work. And I've actually been sleeping in on my vacation, which is nice. Today we're going to try to get to Oxford, get some ice, some bait. I dumped a fair good amount of my bait. It was rotting chicken overboard for the crabs to eat because I wasn't catching anything, but oh man, boat's sailing well. But this is where I'm at. To get some of the boat organized, and I have a mosquito net. There were some mosquitoes out last night. I made some tea. Not bad. 20-foot boat. $475. Not bad. The daytime temperature hit in the 90s, and being in a white boat, reflecting all of that heat, I was being cooked aboard. But I made the best of it, and Dave needs a shave. I did make another attempt to do some fishing, but even fish don't like to be out when it's hot, so I was skunked again. Once the sun set, it cooled down enough to cook. I put the galley in the cockpit, which made for a much better cooking spot. But because it was so hot, I needed to check my cooler into food. Luckily, not everything had gone bad, and I was gonna need some ice. It is Thursday morning. I just spent the morning getting everything situated with the boat, putting things away, making sure the ropes are right. The weather forecast today from the radio is a little grim. It says that there's going to be rain in the morning, which is not bad, but there's supposed to be a low pressure system coming through, bringing in more thunderstorms, so there's possibly we might get hit here. It's overcast, the wind is low, not enough really for me to use the jibs. I'm going to motor out to Town Creek, resupply there, take a break, stretch my legs, get some lunch, and then watch the weather from there. If it gets bad, I'm going to make a run for Plain Dealing Creek to anchor there. According to the Cruising the Chesapeake Gunkholer's Guide, that's a good place to go if I have to go emergency. If it looks like the rest of the afternoon should be okay, I'm going to see if I can make a run for Irish Creek before going up Broad Creek, and see if I can hold up in Irish Creek for the night. Everything depends on the weather, obviously. Everything out here depends on the weather when you're sailing, and that's why you go with an open itinerary when you're sailing. Of course, I have a motor, so that wouldn't matter as much, but with my experience level, I don't think tackling high seas, even with a motor, is my piece of cake, or my cup of tea, so to speak. Alright, time to go off. As I got to the dock of a marina, I saw the incoming storm, and then the wind picked up as I was making my approach, causing me to panic while running topside to get my lines ready, and I knocked the vent into the water. The wind pushed the boat up against the dock, and I ran out of bumpers to cushion it. I improvised with my boat cushions. But once the boat was secured to the dock, I stepped back to take a breather and assess the situation. So it looks like that was a really good decision. To dock for the night here in Town Creek. That's there's a thunderstorm coming on. I think if I had decided to motor out here and then try to sail out to Irish Creek, oh wow, you can actually see the rain over there. You can see the rain starting to come this way. Good thing I docked here for the night. I'm gonna head into town and grab some food. I headed to Doc's Grill to wait out the storm, which brought in sheets of rain. While there, my sea legs made me seasick while sitting and eating on dry land. Afterwards, I headed back to check on the boat and then to register with the marina. It was surreal to see a massive rainbow after such a thunderous downpour. I'm docked here at Town Creek Marina. Campbell's Marina, or Campbell's Boatyards, I guess, in Town Creek. Guy who owns it is super chill, really nice guy. I can dock for the night to ride out the storm. As you can see, the conditions are such that the NOAA has put in a small craft advisory effect until 8 p.m., which is pretty late. I'm inexperienced, so I'm not going to push it. It's $20 a foot, 20-foot trailer sailor, so it's $40, which is pretty reasonable. To have it camped out here for the night. There's showers, water, waste disposal, I just came back from Doc's Grill, which is highly recommended, by the way. I really recommend you go to Doc's Grill if you ever come out here for food. There's also another place that's like a European bistro. The really nice lady in front invited me to come over for dinner. So I'm going to check that out later tonight. Meantime, at the resupply, get rid of waste. Check on the boat, make sure everything's ship shape. But we're heading over to it. This is probably not the best docking job I've ever done, but given I was scrambling because of the high winds that kicked up when I came in, it is what it is. I had the motor out here because the winds were so strong, or actually the winds were low and they were in the headwinds. So as you can see here, I've got it tied up, got the spring line attached, bow line attached, and then the stern line. Other than that, I mean, everything else looks great, relatively speaking. But yeah, I'm here safe and sound. That's the most important thing. And I'm gonna go in town, get some supplies. I need batteries. Tomorrow I gotta check in with Susan, pay for the dock costs. I gotta get water. I gotta dispose of my shitter bags, which they have a dumpster for. Speaking of which, I'll talk about how to properly use a bucket head. But first, after about 4 days of heat and toil, I needed a shower. And the marina showers felt fantastic. Another great thing about marinas is a lot of them have bicycles you can use to get around town. I rode out of the marina into the town of Oxford, to the center of the town, Oxford Market, to get some batteries, snacks, and to treat myself out to some ice cream. Then I did a little bit of bicycle touring of the area. Afterwards, I headed to the bistro for an Italian dinner, wrapped up with cheesecake and wine for dessert. And now, to finish off, I am going to watch a guilty pleasure of mine, which is an anime called Black Lagoon, about a crew of 4 pirates in the South China Sea in the early 1990s. I love this anime, and given all the crap that I've had to endure the day before, now that today I've had a bit of a chance to chill, relax, enjoy myself a bit, reassess some of the things I gotta do to the boat to make it better, because man, even despite all the work that I've done, there's a lot of kinks I gotta work out on it before I can make it into the type of boat that I can take out to like the Bahamas or, you know, even further cruises down the Chesapeake. That's how boat life is. You're always working on something, on a project with it, which I'm good with because I've helped my friends fix their boats for many years before I got into this whole thing. I knew what I was getting into by helping them. And by helping them, I was able to assess what it is that I wanted, what I don't want. At least now I'm sailing after a little bit less than a year's worth of work on the boat, which is great. Just more improvements I gotta do to it. But in the meantime, I'm gonna enjoy some Black Lagoon, watching Revy, Rock, Dutch, and Benny wreak havoc. Sure. The next morning I headed to Oxford Social for some breakfast, and then finished preparations for the day to motor out of there. Heading out of Town Creek, Campbell's Marine Campground. Man, that was great staying there. That helped rejuvenate me. And the goal today is we got a major headwind. It's southwesterly. So if I can get on a good angle coming down the Tread Avon River, I can maybe deploy one of my jibs, sail it. But the idea is I want to get around the point and come up into Irish Creek or Broad Creek before the end of the day. We want to make some miles today because I want to try to hit some islands that's in Broad Creek to test out the beach capabilities of this boat. Other than that, I'm feeling good. The motor's working great. Everything's battened down. Everything checks out. Cockpit checks out. There's a whole checklist you have to go through before you can start anywhere. Just that's how it goes. And you always want to take your time. You can't rush this stuff. So, oh look, and there's Doc's Grill. That's where I had lunch yesterday to hunker out the storm over there. That was great. Going to be coming around to the point into the biggest part of the Choptank River. That's where it gets chaotic, and then we'll see how I do from there. Got the mainsail up, the Yankee jib's up, supposedly 9 knots of wind. Over there looks like the red channel marker marking the entry point to Irish Creek. Everything feels good, everything looks good. Telltales, broad reach, I think I got that right. I got some issues here with the sail. I'm gonna have to resolve that later. But once I point the nose into the wind, I'm gonna have to depower everything and turn on the motor. I think that's the red channel marker I see out there, which according to the map should be 1T, which is right here. And that should be exit out of Tres de Avon River, and I should start turning northwest to get up into either Irish Creek or Broad Creek. So I'm at this point. I got a little lost because I overshot when I was sailing. We got a little too far south to the next marker, so I backtracked a bit. But now we're going into the wind. You see the telltales, which means I got a motor sail. So motor's on. There's a lot of freaking traffic out. As you can see in the horizon, there's a regatta going on from St. Michael's. And on top of that, you got the watermen. A lot of freaking traffic, man. Anyway, so far so good. This makes it a bit easy because I got to track where the sailboats are coming from to get into Broad Creek. We'll see if I go to Broad Creek or Irish Creek today. But making the right direction, so far so good. Alright, cool. Gave these guys a wide berth. Gets me out of the way out of most of these dudes. I don't know what the regatta is going on, but looking good. I should be able to avoid it. Plus, seeing where they're coming from tells me where St. Michael's is, so I'm in the right direction. This is great, and plus it's cool to watch too. You know, it's funny, I actually seriously considered an electric motor for this, but man, I'm glad I did not shell out the cash for that. Not only was it probably 2 to 3 times more expensive than propane, way less efficient than propane, propane's cheaper than electric, and propane's stronger than electric. I have 2 tanks of propane gas on this thing. I haven't even used up one of them, and it was 2/3 full. That was a smart choice. I am damn glad of that. Thank you Tohatsu for the Sailrite motor, and thank you Annapolis boat guys out over there. Seeing you at the Annapolis boat show. Just gotta give a shout out to you guys, especially to Jesse for making that sail to me and saved my bacon. All right, back on sailing. All right, so I managed to get to a place called the Unnamed Cove or Baby Cove in the cruising manual. That's not written in any charts. I broke a piece holding, well actually the Yankee jib came off the carabiner that we improvised to hold it in, so obviously carabiners don't work. I'm gonna have to repair that. That's minor. I ended up having the motor here anyway because of the wind direction. Because it's so hot, I sent up what's called a wind scoop. This fabric thing that's in front catches the wind and funnels it through the hatch and creates a large wind effect inside the cabin because it's hot as hell. As you can tell from the telltales, there's wind coming in. It's about maybe 5-6 knots, not high. It's about 5 o'clock p.m. I'm in a really secluded area this time compared to where I was before. Not bad. I am now in the Broad Creek system. Broad Creek River system. So I'll be exploring that, and then I'm going to try to hit a bunch of islands at the conclusion of the trip. Supposedly, according to the the cruising guide, at low tide, this area here is a screen of trees. There's a sand beach that gets exposed that you can go walk on. Supposedly I'm in about 10 feet of water. It should stay holding in terms of the anchorage. But a pretty good spot. Probably one of the best spots I've found so far. Anyway, all the gall. Not terrible of a day. We did about 12 nautical miles. I got lost a little bit because I couldn't figure out what one of the channel markers were. And I blew past it while sailing, of all things. Once I realized I'd gone too far, I overshot. I corrected, and then I had to go to motoring because I was heading right into the headwind. And then I was motoring, I went by a huge regatta of sailboats that were coming out of St. Michael's to Oxford, which was cool to see. But man, my ears are rattled from hearing the motor the whole time. That said, the motor is a champ. That is a champ. But if I had a chance to do some sailing, which I did try on my way up here, and that's when that part broke. So I'm learning a lot of what's working and what's not working on this trip. That's a lot of stuff. I'm gonna go and chill and do some repairs. Alright, this is amazing. The wind scoop is putting in a ton of air from some very little wind into the cabin, keeping things a lot cooler than it was the day before. Mainsail's tied up nice. The rudder is stabilized, tied up nice. I'm playing some reggae now because I'm in that complete chill out, not work mode. Oh man. So much better. That was a long day. And with a long day came a big appetite. Time to make dinner. Vegetarian bulgogi, recommended by my mom.
information to change the station. Endless cries of compilation. Is anybody?
Nightfall meant hanging up the mast light. So this point I found here, I don't know if you can see it, but there's life everywhere. There's so much bait fish. All these sea nettles are all in here. Obviously you don't want to go swimming in it, but there's a crab. There's a big crab. There he goes. Oh, that's a big guy. Shoot. Just when I pull up the camcorder, I decided to film. I caught 2 crabs earlier actually with this net I've got up here. But that was fun. I didn't get skunked this trip. But there's so much life in this cove. I'm gonna keep this place quiet, obviously. But dang, there's like crabs galore. They're everywhere. There's another, no, that's a sea nettle. There's little crabs, big crabs. There was a big guy that went floating by. Obviously it's gotta happen when I decide to start filming. But I caught 2, I didn't get skunked. Oh, that's a big, what the hell? That's a big guy right there. I don't know what that is. It's big in the water. I should get my bow out. I brought my bow and my fishing harpoons. But this is a great cove. I gotta come back here. Man. Stay tuned for part 2 of this adventure, where we sail to a deserted island, forage for food, and check out the flora and the fauna of the Chesapeake Bay. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe, and come visit my blog at dnadventures.com.